is a show that puts your financial future first. Tune in every Monday from 5:30 p.m. to 5:45 p.m. for this insightful wealth management program, because informed decisions lead to lasting wealth. Only on Classic FM 97.3.
A very good evening to you. Welcome to today's edition of Wealth Management and You. My name is Chico. I'm joining in the studio by RAPHAEL EMENYONU. RAPHAEL, how are you doing today?
Good evening, Chico. I'm good. Yourself?
I'm doing okay. Had an okay weekend?
Yeah, peaceful actually.
I was going to ask if you are team this person or team this person, but I won't. Let's leave it alone.
Alrighty.
Before we get into today's show, let's just share with you some information from Skrilla Technologies. Now, Skrilla Technologies provide you with insurance cover for your mobile phones and other small electronic devices. We're always preaching that it is better to be safe than sorry. You know how easy it is for these devices to get damaged. I know someone right now who's crying. In fact, she's tried all sorts of things to try to get a new phone, and phones are really expensive now. Even second-hand phones are going for over $500,000 naira. It's crazy, you know. So people are scratching around trying, and if you're using a phone that's of a certain operating system, you might find that except you buy a brand new one, you might come a cropper and have serious challenges. But the good news is that you can actually be safe rather than be sorry after spending such an amount to get yourself a device, and not just mobile phones but things like tablets as well. Some laptops too can all be covered under the Skrilla policies. Now, these policies are not transferable, but you can buy vouchers from Skrilla that can be purchased, and then you can transfer those to your loved ones. There's also one account with multiple device owners. So you have the one account and you can have different devices under that one account that might be in your name, especially if you're a parent. And that can be really useful. Or if you're the head of your home and you've got other people, staff who work for you. Some of us give our staff mobile phones and things that they use. You might want to cover it under your policy. And that way, if those devices get damaged, they're covered and it's repaired. Now, premium vouchers are available as well, and your device will be repaired by visiting the nearest repair vendor. All right. Now, all the vendors are pre-registered repair vendors, and they are across the country. All right. So don't say you weren't warned. You know, and I often use myself as an example because I did have a damaged device and no cover. It was an expensive one, but thank you so much, Skrilla. To get more information about this, you can log on to the website www.skrilla.com, and Skrilla is spelled S-C-R-E-L-L-A. That's Skrilla, www.skrilla.com. You can also send an email to ask@skrilla.com or dial the number 0916 000 7790 and 0916 000 7791. Now you've heard me, how about you hear Skrilla?
Cracked screens, water damage, the worries endless. Introducing Skrilla, Nigeria's smart choice for mobile phone insurance. With Skrilla, you get instant protection through screen sensitivity testing as well as IMEI verification. Plans start as low as 5,500 naira for a full year. One account, multiple devices. No paperwork needed, with Skrilla having partners across Nigeria, so location isn't a barrier and repairs can be done within an hour nationwide. Whether it's screen damage or back glass replacement, Skrilla has got you covered. Protect your phone and your peace of mind. Visit www.skrilla.com or call the numbers 091 6000 7790 or 091 6000 7791. Terms and conditions apply. Skrilla, preserving perfection.
Welcome back. It's Wealth Management and You here on Classic FM 97.3. You're smiling, aren't you? Because you've now heard about Skrilla. right? I know you are. I can feel it. All right. Hello again, Raphael. Our topic today on wealth management and you is old money, new money. Old money, new money. What's the difference? One lives in Ikoyi, one lives in Lekki Phase 1.
We live everywhere.
I couldn't help it. One lives in Ikeja GRA, the other lives in Omole. Oh, shook. Sorry. Raphael, I'm sorry. I couldn't help it.
Yeah,
I've been looking forward to saying that, honestly.
They live everywhere.
They live everywhere. I know. Don't mind me. No. Okay, on a serious note. Now, it is a common saying that of old money and new money, but to be on the safe page now, just define what each of these terms actually means. What is old money, or who is old money, and what is
who is new money?
Yes.
Yeah. So new money refers to in your current generation, right? You're the first ancestral lineage in your current generation to be wealthy, right? So this sort of wealth could come from maybe tech, maybe athletes, maybe movies.
Not inheritance.
Not inheritance.
So if you inherited it, it's still old money.
If you inherit it, it's old money, right? Or maybe it's business that you set up, that's new money. Now, when we come to old money, you're talking about guys that have built inheritance, right? That have built multi-generational wealth for about a century. So research has shown that statistics, right? 90% of the wealthy families, their wealth.
So like the Rockefeller
is a very good example, right? Old money. Now, 90% of the very wealthy families, with the structure that they've put in place, the research that we've seen, the wealth has not been able to go past the second generation. It's very rare for it to get to the third generation. So it's just about 10% globally that have seen the wealth pass through the third generation and beyond. In Nigeria, you have very quiet families that sort of fall into that space, but not the household names that we have today, because majority of them, you haven't seen what's going on with the second generation, not third generation. So it's still them. So for the old monies, it's from.
I know that I know you've got to be careful. I don't have that inhibition. So, for instance, you're suggesting that some of the new money is JJCs. You just got there, kind of thing. We needed to test it, and come back and take a look in, say, shall we say, 100 years.
Exactly. So the Rockefeller kind of people have built, this wealth for the generations in about a century.
I wonder whether we'll say that about the Bill Gates of this world, the Jeff Bezos.
Bill Gates is not even on that list.
No, what I mean is in terms of given time, because essentially all those empires are empires built in the last 20 years, 30 years max. 30 years max. And now I'm talking, give it like 100 years. I just wonder.
So it needs to. I think the main measurement, or one of the key measurements, is that it needs to go beyond the second generation. The third generation needs to enjoy it. I think the fourth generation as well. So we've seen wealth from the first generation to the second generation, but they're not even on that list. So clearly, that's not a multi-generational old money kind of thing.
We're talking other ways to distinguish between the two. So when you say you want to test whether it has been able to stand and get to the second generation, for instance, is it that the second generation would just come up and not have to work, for instance? You've set up a structure or an empire or an institution, a fund, whatever it is, that is built such wealth and set up such a structure that it keeps then propagating itself. Either way, it's going to keep making money. So that descendants in down to the second generation, if they wanted to, are all just going to keep getting some kind of financial legacy that they could just live off of. We've seen such families.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So we've seen such families, but again, it all depends on the kind of structure, that is put in place. If it's a structure that falls into the hands of maybe a financially responsible head, for instance, all the assets that you put together are all gone. I think you said that, you mentioned that sort of story before in one of our programs. But so it all depends on the structure, that has also been put in place, which is very critical, to the success of the transition.
This is a very difficult conversation to have without certain people coming to mind. There's all sorts of names that are playing in my head.
Yep.
Don't worry.
Yep.
I won't say that. But
I have an idea. Yep. I mean, but again, to help us with the definition, right?
Yes.
There are different ways that they live their lifestyle. That also helps, for you to also understand better. So for the new money guys, for instance, they like publicity. They want to be seen. They want
for them, money now water. I'm sorry, okay, I'm going to behave from here on.
They want to be seen on social media. They want to put on a very bogus logo designer wear, so that at least you can see that they've arrived. For the old money guys, they want to be private because they've already arrived. You
won't see them spraying dollars at a party.
No, they're never going to do that. They wear designers as well, but they wear designers that will last them for multiple years. They're not following the trend. The old money guys go to schools where there's a tradition for them as well. The sort of schools that they attend, the sort of cars that they drive. You don't see them buying Ferrari every Tuesday, Lamborghini every Monday. They don't buy all of those every week, but they buy cars as well that are, in a decent class of itself. The new money guys are specialists, in terms of their field. For the old money guys, because of the sort of education that their ancestors have given them, they tend to have a general knowledge, so they've been trained on the act of conversation on any kind of subject, so there's just no specialty in one field.
Does the source of this wealth have any bearing on whether it qualifies as new money or old money?
Yeah, it does. It does.
So, for instance, someone who perhaps occupied a major political position and used that to enrich themselves to the tune of, several billions. Obviously, it's very difficult to just squander. It's possible, but it will take a long time. Billions, forex and stuff, and they're long gone. But that's the source of the original source of the money. So fast forward second generation, and they're still enjoying the largesse.
Third generation.
Yes, that's old money now.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets to the third and fourth, I mean, because the information is not there that it was gotten in the wrong way, right?
The internet never forgets, Raphael.
But I mean,
and it's not forgetting now. I can assure you, won't forget in the future. Its memory will get sharper.
Let's just assume that the monies were legit and the structure has been put in place, and it's going through the second, the third, and the fourth generation.
Okay.
Right? I mean, so that's really how we can, get to know, the difference between the two. The new money guys they're always in a hurry. They want to make quick money. They want to make more money. The old money guys they just want to preserve it.
I see there's an attitudinal distinction between
absolutely. Absolutely. For the new money guys, there's a saying that you can't take it with you if you die. But the response of the old money guys is that, leave it with your children. So that again helps us, in sort of the distinct between the two.
I recall seeing something online recently about a couple who were saying that they bought houses as their kids graduated from university, they bought them houses, and they were regretting it later on. They felt that it took the drive and the ambition out of their children.
Yeah.
You know, whereas the kids who didn't have such a leg up, you know, striving,
They were responsible enough.
Yes. That will have a bearing on this topic.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I think that takes me to how do you then ensure that the wealth is transferred from one generation to the other successfully, right? So, there are tools, and we've discussed some of those tools in previous episodes. There's a trust. There's a family office.
Yep.
Now, the trust is designed in such a way that it's called a dynasty trust, which means that it should last from generation to generation, right? Now, the mandate of how you want this operation to be done as well by the founder is all stated clearly in the trust as well. So it could be just for education, it could be just for healthcare. Now, let me backtrack a little bit. There are three key things that are usually on the mind of the founder in creating the dynasty trust. First one is taxes. How do I manage my taxes responsibly? Not to evade tax, but to manage the tax obligation responsibly, right? The second one is if one of the heirs goes bankrupt, so you're trying to set up a business as maybe the grandchild, and then you have some challenges. The assets are protected, the assets of the founder are already protected in the trust. So you have to sort out your challenges, right? So the assets of the trust are not put on the table to resolve the bankruptcy issue. And finally, if there is a financially responsible heir as well, the trust, the mandate in the trust has also been created in such a way that it protects that as well. So in the trust as well, there's a spendthrift mandate, which could be called a spendthrift trust, right? So that ensures that maybe you just want to pay out monthly payments, like monthly allowance or living expenses, right? Just to ensure that you manage how these monies are paid out. There's an incentive trust as well as part of that mandate. So you're not just trying to correct bad behaviors, you're also incentivizing good behaviors. So maybe the heir graduates from school, there's a reward from the trust. You get a job, there's a reward for the salary you earn.
Reminds me of what happens with like pensions.
Yeah.
There's certain conditions put in place, sort of checks and balances.
Absolutely. So the mandates that you put together in the trust helps you to manage that sort of example, that you give it. And another important part as well, that helps with the multi-generational transfer, right, is the education bit, So the old money guys also tend to educate the younger ones very early, in terms of financial knowledge. And I think we've had sessions like that as well on the program in the past. So they try to make them understand, how to be frugal, to be discreet, because it's not about talking about money, everywhere you go to. It's just about, presenting yourself, the right to in line with the family's tradition, to work hard, to also learn about the founder, because for most of them it's pictures that they would see, the great grandfather, the grandfather is gone, So they learn about the assets and the trust as well. They learn about the values. In most cases, there's a letter, that speaks to the family values as part of the trust. So they read that as well. And they also understand the purpose of the wealth. So they're able to replace that entitlement with informed responsibility. So it's clear to them, And then there's a regular family meeting as well by the senior family members, the corporate trustees that they're working with as well.
Yes.
So the education, it's gradual, and they understand why these things are there. I think one of the most important parts as well of the multi-generational wealth transfer is the cultural mindset. Also for these younger ones to understand what governs the entire relationship of the family with money. So the discretion, the frugality, the core value of long-term thinking, not just short-term, but long-term thinking. You know, all these are required, you know, to guide the entire operation, or whether it's a dynasty trust or it's a family office. You know, so all of this supports, you know, that entire process
Of transferring this wealth.
of transferring the wealth. Yeah.
It's about
So in the instance of the one you mentioned, perhaps the education bit, I think, might have been missing.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that usually should start early. You know, when we had that session on Children's Day, we had said that at least by the age of 4, you know, these things should have kicked off.
You know, very easy to, when listening to a topic like today's one, to believe we're talking about rich people. You know, let's see it from that light. But if one is not wealthy, can you still like set up a trust and do these things we're describing?
Yeah, when we read about trust, it's usually directed at wealthy people. But you see, for the regular people, if you're particular about protecting your assets, you're particular about organizing your family, you're particular about the delay in court decisions, you know, especially, you know, when you have to, when the inevitable happens, you know, and the distribution of those assets and all of those things, that a trust vehicle, you know, is the right tool for you to use. It's not, I mean, when you discuss with the corporate organizations that offer the services, they have packages for the retail set of people as well, and they have packages for the ultra high net worth individuals as well. So it's for everybody. You just need to be clear, you know, on what you want to do and what you want to achieve.
All right, let's so if you're not wealthy, how do you set it? How do you go about it? What do you just walk into?
Yeah, and you tell them everything starts from your goals. You know, like we always say, it's your goals, it's not the product. You know, when you're going to see a doctor, you don't ask the doctor for the medication that's available. You tell the doctor, what exactly is wrong with you, you know, so that he can diagnose you and prescribe the right medication.
Yes.
Right? If you're going to see a gym instructor, you don't tell the gym instructor what exercises are there. You tell him, you know, what part of your body that you want trimmed down, and then he tells you what exercises would work. You know, so it's the same thing. So you need to be clear on the goals as well, and then you get the right recommendation, you know, that will help you as a solution.
Okay, I'm gonna assume that we all want to transition from new to old money.
Yeah,
How do we go about
leaving
it?
legacy behind. So I think the key thing is to have that long-term thinking. You know, have a long-term thinking. Think about financial security, not flashy spending. Educate the next generation about money early. Let them understand balance sheet, you know, not just the income statement. Balance sheet is what tells you about the assets and the liabilities, right? And how you're able to position the assets, you know, for the future generation. Let them understand those as well, you know, and let them begin to understand these things early enough, you know. Let them also spend below their means, you know. Let them begin to learn that early enough as well, you know, because that also helps, you know, in building the right mindset. Protecting your assets against risk is also very important. And then finally, I think stewardship is also one of the things that needs to be learned as well. You know, how you ensure that, you know, you're preserving wealth for the next generation, so that when they kick off, they're not kicking off from ground zero. You know, there's a support that would help them to, even if, even in the trust that we spoke about, if they're starting a business, for instance, it can be part of the mandate of the trust, you know, and they have a decent business plan, then the trust can release some funds to support and mentor and guide, you know, those ideas to ensure that it's a success.
I've got this. I'm going to read it. It comes from Michael in Nigeria. He says, someone said, the first generation builds the wealth, the second understands it, and the third loses it.
Exactly. So that's the 90% we're talking about.
Wow.
That's the 90% we're talking about.
Wow. Yeah. But if you put in place these things,
the right structure, because what has been done with the research, you know, is to study the likes of Rockefeller, study the likes of there's a European family as well, the Royal family,
Rothschild,
the Rothschild, correct. you know, and I think it's Amo or something. There's another family in the US as well. So there's a study around those guys to see what they've done, you know, to ensure that this keeps happening. You know, and that's the results that we see today.
Wow. Okay, you are listening to Wealth Management and You, where our topic today is old money, new money. Which side of the fence are you on? I wonder. Be interesting to know. You can always get in touch with us during the show. So send us a WhatsApp message on 0704 1001 973. That's 0704 1001 973. Now, old money and new money, which one's better? They're both money.
Yeah, I think that's a question for everybody, including you and I. Do you want to leave a legacy for the next generation, or you just want to enjoy everything?
Is it irresponsible for one to say, well, you know, this is there's a Bobby Brown song, he goes, I made this money, you didn't.
Even Steve Harvey, you know, has said it that because he's not going to leave anything. Right?
Yeah,
they're going to work for them.
So you know, is one better than the other? It's money.
It's money. You know, I like. So maybe because of my own profession, right? I like what the new money guys have done.
And if the person is dead, you're dead. You don't know what's going on. You're gone.
Yeah, you're gone. You know, I like what the new money guys.
Because here's what. Sorry. I mean, we don't know. None of us have been there. But I'm pretty sure that if you had the gratification of being able to see that the things you put in place and whatever were now working, and your family was okay, and what you put together is still going. If we could know that and have some guarantee and see that, I'm sure a lot of small people would be doing it.
Yeah.
But there's an attitude that if I'm dead, I'm dead now.
You don't know what's going on, right? I mean, but we've seen the stories of the Rockefellers.
Yeah.
You know, and
you can get some inspiration from that.
I think it's working. I mean, I have a friend that works with a foundation, you know, here in Africa. I think it's working, you know, from the stories that we've read, you know, I think it's working. You know, but to your last question, I think it's a question that every individual needs to answer, you know. I like what the new money guys have done. You know, they've brought some level of disruption if you look at areas by which they've made their money. I mean, there's the hotels, they brought in Airbnb. The cables, they brought in Netflix, you know. So they brought in some level of disruption and they've made good money, you know. But again, I think it will be a plus, you know, if you're able to leave a legacy behind. If you're able to help the future generation not to start from ground zero, but you're able to provide some support. I think it will be a plus. But again, it's a question that every individual needs to answer. You know, do you want to leave something for the next generation, multiple generations? Or you just want to enjoy life, travel, and see the
one day it's all.
You know, so it's a question that we all need to answer. And, you know,
thank you very much. This has been Wealth Management and You. Comes your way at 5:30 every Monday here on Classic FM 97.3. Final words, Rob?
Yeah, if you missed today's episode, you can watch the videos on Wealth Management and You, our YouTube channel. And you can watch previous episodes as well. And do us a favor to subscribe, you know, so that you can get our prompts when we upload the new videos on the program. See you next week.
Thanks a lot. I'll see you next week. I've lined up quite a few money songs. They all have to do with money. A relationship with money, what happens with the love of money, and money. But all those money songs after this break. Join us next Monday, 5:30 for another edition of Wealth Management in You.
Thank you, Chico.
To London during the Ember season, the